Hello and welcome to Good Clean Gaming. I'm your host Jalindo, and today we're going over the tech tree in Homeworld Deserts of Kharak. So I went ahead and looked through all the tech tree, accessed everything in the game, and noted down all the important information. I'll end up probably making a guide out of this and posting it somewhere, but I wanted to have a video out so that people could see what the tech tree is like. And I hate to do this to you guys, but I wanted to show all this in game, but honestly, it's better in a spreadsheet because I haven't been able to find a good representation in game of the tech tree itself. And so I'm gonna switch over to my spreadsheet here and just walk you through where all the tech is and what it does and how it works and all that kind of stuff. You guys can comment below, ask me any questions you have. I'll be glad to answer and find out for you if I don't know. So just feel free, comment, and I will get back to you on it. So yeah, let's minimize this and go to my spreadsheet. I'll go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and zoom in so you guys can see as much as possible. I'll zoom into one level at a time. So the first level of tech right here is going to be your light assault vehicle fabrication, which allows you to build light assault vehicles. The game uses RUs and CUs. RUs are research units, and then CUs are construction units. So this research takes 300 resource units, or excuse me, research. Is it research units? Resource units? It's one or the other. It doesn't really matter. It's an RU. And that's in the engineering section. There's also 2 upgrades available right off the bat on level 1 that are upgrades. One is the power reserve for the carrier, gives the carrier 5 more power. And this one takes 700 RU and 400 CU. And then there's support cruiser anti-air, which allows a support cruiser to actually shoot down planes and stuff like that. 500 RU and 320 RU. So a little bit about this. Your LAV, you can't make anything else until you can't really build any other units other than salvagers until you unlock the LAV, and that unlocks the other things down the line. So these researches, especially this one, unlocks all your other tech. So I highlighted it green because it's a really, really important tech to research very early. Probably it's going to be almost certainly will be the first tech you research. This gives you 5 more power, and what that does is you can assign power to your carrier and allow it to do things like shoot its turrets, shoot missiles, repair other vehicles. It'll allow you to repair itself at some point, increase its armor. It gives you all kinds of flexibility on what your carrier actually does and how strong it is. So it's actually really powerful, and this is the longest, this power reserve line, as it unlocks down the levels, it's actually the longest tech line of the entire game, and it ends in something awesome. More on that later. The support cruiser anti-air does exactly what it says. It gives anti-air capability. Your support cruisers are going to be sitting probably on, there's your main base where you can harvest usually two RUs and 2 CUs and 1 RU node. But then there's going to be other places usually where you can harvest additional RU and CU nodes, and the support cruiser is going to be out in those nodes, more than likely supporting the salvagers, allowing the salvagers to bring in the resources to the support cruiser rather than having to take it all the way back to your carrier. And so having anti-air helps a lot, because if your enemy starts harassing your resource nodes with planes and bombers and things, you're going to want to have the ability to hopefully shoot them down. It's kind of important. But moving on from that, we got level 2. So basically the light assault vehicle unlocks those 3 right there, and then power reserve unlocks power reserve 2. Support cruiser anti-air doesn't unlock anything, it just ends the tech tree on that line. So we'll move on to level 2 now. So on the second level of tech, we have the fighter gunship fabrication. Let me shrink this down a little bit. Fighter gunship, this allows you to create fighters and gunships, not bombers. Bombers come later. So yeah, you'll be able to make the planes, you'll be able to launch planes to a specific point on the map and say, go there, blow up whatever's there, and then when you're done, come back. And it's really kind of useful for harassment, and I've mainly used it for offense. I haven't really used it much for defense, so I don't know. Can't really speak to how effective it is on defense. I assume it's probably just as effective. And then we got Railgun Fabrication. Railguns are kind of like your long-range tanks. It's almost a little bit rock, paper, scissors early on in this game, where your LAVs beat the Railgun beats the armored assault vehicles, which is this one, and the armored assault vehicles beats the LAVs. So it's kind of, at first it's rock, paper, scissorsy, but then you get other things to unlock later on. But the bulk of your the railgun's like the sniper tank, but the bulk of your army is almost always going to be, in my opinion, it seems to work really well, the armored assault vehicle. If you can make that basically the meat of your army, that's going to work really well. The LAVs are good for harassment. They're not going to stand up to much punishment. They're not going to do a lot of damage against high armor targets. It's really difficult to destroy a carrier with LAVs. It just is. Even if, you know, maxed out every single LAV you can possibly build with max logistics and all their upgrades, and they're going to be running around the carrier trying to blow it up for a long time. And that's assuming the carrier has no defenses whatsoever. So yeah, you're going to have to build a lot of tanks and supplement those with like railguns, fighters, gunships, bombers, carriers, not carriers, well, sure, why not carriers. And also you got the cruisers later on. We'll get into that. So these are important, especially with the AAV. You'll see there's a lot of spaces open right here. The AAV tech unlocks a lot of other tech. So if we make this a little smaller here, the AAV unlocks missile battery fabrication, battle cruiser fabrication, assault cruiser fabrication. It leads to artillery cruiser fabrication, and also allows you to upgrade carrier production so you can produce more units faster, and allows you to upgrade the armor on these heavy vehicles, the AAV, the railgun, and the missile battery. So LAV fabrication is very important. Also AAV fabrication, very important. It unlocks a lot of other stuff for you to research. So moving on from that, down here we got if you got the LAV and you're using those, you could you get once you unlock LAV fabrication, making them, you'll be able to research the assault pack, which gives your LAVs the ability to boost. It's really useful for chasing down like rail guns. And armor level 1, which gives them +2 armor. So I'll make a separate video with all the unit numbers and stats and everything, like armor and speed and range and rate of fire and health and all that stuff. And I'll go through all that. But basically, it makes the LAVs more survivable. They already have really low armor, so any extra armor is kind of helpful. But they still die fast. Power Reserve, same as Power Reserve 1. Power Reserve 2 just gives 5 more power to the carrier. The way the carrier power works is there's 5 levels of like turrets, defenses, or armor. I believe there's a repair one, and then there's a what is it? Can't think. Oh, range. There we go. So turrets, range, armor, and repair. And so they have 5 levels. Each one of those levels takes the number of points equal to their level. So at level 1, you spend 1 point to get that level. Level 2 takes 2 points, and level 3 takes 3 points. So you need a total of 6 points to get to level 3 on just one branch if you focus completely on that branch. You start with 1 power. You get 5 power each for each of the Power Reserve researches. So if you research power level 1 or Power Reserve 1, you can get up to level 3 on one thing, or you can spread it out and get up to like level 1 on all the things and level 2 on like 1, something like that. You can get up to, you can't get enough power to maximize everything. In fact, if you research all the power reserves in the game, the entire tech tree, you'll be able to get one line maxed out and one line almost maxed out. And that's as close as you can get. It just increases the expense as you go up the line. But those upgrades are awesome. Now keep in mind with this power, you can shift power back and forth, so you're not stuck once you've researched something and apply the power to like turrets. You're not stuck with turrets. You can switch that off and switch on repair. So it is very flexible for the carrier. Moving on, we got the next line here, and by the way, you can check out all these, all the research costs and construction costs and timing and everything. These are in seconds, so 55 seconds for this one. So moving on to level 3. We have tactical bomber fabrication. It allows you to make bombers. Those are really, really powerful, and you'll see that in the unit video that I make. You got Railgun Mag Accelerator, which increases the railgun's damage by 60, and that it's already really strong, but this makes it something like, I don't know, 30% stronger, 20% stronger, something like that. So it's about that percentage of increase in power. Missile battery fabrication, battle cruiser fabrication, assault cruiser fabrication, those all give you access to those cruisers, and those are all big. They're like giant tanks, and they are very powerful. They have some great abilities. I will go over those in the unit video, but they're cool. And then the last cruiser you get way over here in level 4, unlocked through the assault line. You can get the artillery cruiser, which I think allows you, based on the way I've seen it work in the game, it allows you to do kind of long-range targeting, which is kind of effective. The upgrade carrier production, you can do this once here and then twice right after that. So it unlocks a second upgrade carrier production right after you research the first one. It basically just gives you an extra line. So instead of just making one unit at a time, you can make 2 units at a time. And then at the end, you can make 3 units at a time. That can be really good for churning out units, especially if you're trying to overpower your enemy with just raw production. Works really well. We got heavy vehicle armor at level 1, also level 2, and I believe it goes up to level 3. Gives 2 more armor to the AAV, Armored Assault Vehicle, the railgun, and the missile battery. And that just makes the tanks that are already tanky even more tanky. Already, the LAV is going to have trouble hurting these kind of vehicles, but with the extra armor, they're pretty much impervious to these strike vehicles for the most part. Next, we've got the vehicle damage. You can increase the 2 damage to the LAV. The LAV can actually get some pretty high damage on it, but it's still really fragile later on. Already in mid-game, it's kind of fragile. And then LAV armor, same thing, make it a little more durable. And then power reserve, more power to the carrier, and that gives you the ability to kind of assign more points to turrets and repair and all that kind of stuff. One thing to notice, that a note that I didn't mention, is that engineering upgrades or engineering researches and upgrades researches, they can be researched simultaneously. So you can research one engineering at the same time as you research one upgrade. So if you can get the resource collection going at a high enough rate, you should definitely try to keep both going simultaneously, because that's basically like researching twice as fast as your enemy if they're not doing the same thing. Very important. So at this point, most of the well, about half the tech tree ends, but we still got some more to go. On level 4, we have the artillery cruiser, which gives you the ability to do those long-range artillery strikes. We also have the assault cruiser anti-air. So the assault cruiser, which is already really strong on the ground, now can shoot down planes. That's very useful. You get that extra Q for producing 3 units at a time with the upgrade carrier production here. And then more armor for your tanks, more damage for your light assault vehicles, and then more power for your carrier. And it continues. We have the level 3 heavy armor, and we have the level 5 power reserve. At that point, the level 5 power reserve is the highest you can get. That gives you 21 total points. And if you do the math, you got 5 levels. Each one takes its own amount of points. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 levels. That's 15 points. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. That's going to give you 7, 8, 9, 10 points, I think. Did I do that math right? I'm missing something. I am missing something. But I know for a fact you can get up to level 5 on one line and level 4 on another. So that must be not 21 points, but 26 points. So 26 points, correction. 26 points once you get to power reserve 5. And assign those however you want. Finally, here's where it gets awesome. All the way at the end. After you research the Power Reserve 5. Carrier Cruise Missile Silo. Nuclear launch detected. Basically, it's StarCraft nukes. Launched from your carrier every 2 minutes. It has friendly fire. It's the most powerful thing I've ever seen. a full health carrier has tons of health, tons of armor. You launch one of these things at a carrier, it's like half its health is gone. In like it takes like 10 seconds to get there. And I believe that, I'm not sure because I haven't had one launched at me yet, but I believe that they can actually see where the missile's targeting and try to get away. So you got to be careful how you use it, but half the health of a carrier, that's just awesome. Chances are most games you're probably not going to get this far because to get this far, that assumes you're already probably winning, and this is the finishing move. Or you can rush to this point, and if you rush and get there before the enemy kills you, then yeah, you can pretty much use it to just nuke all of them and force them to come at you to stop their impending doom. So yeah, that's basically the tech tree. I will try to post a guide on this Steam community hub somewhere. I will also try to post it in other places so that people have access to it. Maybe the wiki, I don't know. So yeah, I don't know if they're gonna release when they release this game. I did this all before the game is released, and so they may end up releasing a tech tree that renders all of this moot. But at least I wanted you guys to have access to it now. As I mentioned, I will be making a separate video for coalition units, and I'll go over all the units that are in the coalition side. There's two factions, coalition and Galcian, and I'll go over the coalition units in the next video, go over all their stats, talk about how the upgrades affect these vehicles, and you guys can have a good understanding on day one of how to play this game, play it well, and kind of at least know where the game is going, you know, without having to research through all this and see everything. Anyway, hope it helps. Let me know in the comments below if I missed anything, if anything looks incorrect, if there was already this done somewhere and I just didn't see it because I looked. I did look. But anyway, hope it helps somebody. Hope it helps you guys. And I guess feel free to click that subscribe button if you want to get little indications when I get the unit video posted. Also, I'm going to do the same thing for Galcian, do a tech tree and the unit guide, and maybe more videos if more things come up that I can go through. So be sure to hit that subscribe button. I'll have more content for you guys. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Feel free to click that subscribe button if you're interested. I've already said that. And remember, outro, and remember, keep it clean.